So Sonic the Hedgehog came out this weekend, and it has been doing absolutely amazing for a video game adaptation. I mean, a lot of people out there are really happy with the final product. They are happy that the movie has raced its way to making a grand total of 57 million in its opening weekend. It was predicted as high as 65 million. That didn't happen, but still, 57 million puts it above Detective Pikachu when that came out last May, and that was considered a success back then, and this one is out and out just kind of blowing it out of the water, and people are asking why. Well, I have my own theories on that one, but really I think it has a lot to do with a less crowded box office, and that's kind of where we find ourselves with Sonic. But one of the interesting things that I've been seeing pop up over the course of the past couple of days has been the discussion around whether or not this movie was given a negative controversy in order to sell tickets down the road. Now, this is an article that popped up a few months ago over on Vice titled, "Was the Sonic the Hedgehog redesign an elaborate PR stunt?" And the article itself doesn't go necessarily too far deep into everything, but it was a conversation back in November. It did kind of feel a little bit weird, right? It did feel a little bit weird, and there were a lot of people out there that were putting out these theories. Actually, one of them here is a guy by the name of D'Angelo Wallace, who just posted this onto his YouTube page, saying, "If it was this easy, it almost makes me feel like they could have purposely messed up the first Sonic design in the first trailer in order to generate massive outrage and press coverage surrounding what is most likely going to be a pretty run-of-the-mill video game movie, getting us all excited for when they fixed it. Then they made this trailer, and now we're all unanimously on their side, LMAO. I'm just being a conspiracy theorist, but that makes more sense to me than reanimating an entire movie. It's just speculation, but I think about how well it worked out for them regardless, even if it somehow wasn't intentional. That's the most convenient marketing I've ever seen." And the truth of the matter is, D'Angelo is maybe onto something, right? Now, there were, let me show you this real quick. So this article popped up a couple days after his little conspiracy theory over on IndieWire from Zach Sharf, saying the Sonic redesign cost Paramount nowhere near the 35 million that's been rumored, right? You heard about that. It cost like $35 million, and then it was all these problems, but it was actually more in line with about $5 million. But this is something worth paying attention to. A source close to Sonic the Hedgehog production estimates that the character redesign cost Paramount less than $5 million. The source says the VFX work on the film was far from completed by the time the decision was made to delay the movie and redesign Sonic. The only Sonic VFX that were fully completed were reportedly the ones seen in the first trailer, which dropped on April 30th. Most of the VFX work was not finished, so redesigning Sonic proved not to be as outrageously expensive as it would have been had all the film's VFX been done. The source tells IndieWire that any rumor alleging the redesign made the Sonic VFX team suffer is far from true. And that's a whole other thing too, where you have like one of the design houses having closed down in Vancouver, British Columbia after being worked to death over this movie. That's what we've been hearing. But if the only VFX that was made at the time was for the terrible design that we saw, you know, one could really kind of question, well, wait a minute, like, you know, this is what they ultimately gave us, right? This was the final product, but the first design was just, I mean, it was bad, right? We all know that it was pretty bad. We all know that it was terrible. And if this was just done for the trailer, and then this is what came out when they did the redesign, it really isn't that much more work if all they had to do was just reskin it. They already had all the rigging work, all the skeleton work, all the VFX core work was done, and then they just needed to figure out a better design for Sonic himself. And that is, you know, like, again, it didn't seem like it's really that much work. Well, there are people out there that are trying to naysay it, like this guy here named Spencer Wyatt. Now, he posted right around the same time D'Angelo did, and he's trying to argue that this was not a conspiracy theory, this was not a PR stunt, that this was just, it is what it is. Saying the people that are stuck on this conspiracy, no company makes merchandise for a publicity stunt. So much money must have gone into conceptual work and production for these products. Paramount didn't just give them a crisp 5 and say, hey man, could you do me a solid? And he links to this image right here, coming in from a Sonic latex mask blue full head adult Halloween costume cosplay. So this is something that came out. Now it's only available from third-party seller, right? This is actually the listing right here. And we can see that the Sonic, is coming in from X Costumes, so pay attention to that one here. But it's $35. There's literally no reviews on it. There's nothing. There's no customer reviews, meaning that the likelihood of anyone actually buying this thing, probably not very high. And then I start looking into who they were themselves, and this is their about page. And they say here that cosplay costumes with competitive price at Xcoser, we have the best selection of high quality costumes. Cosplay costumes. There are thousands of cosplay costumes for your option. All the costume displays on our site are independently designed, handcrafted, and modeled by our professional team. We work with the factory directly to provide a competitive price, meaning they're independently designed. Well, that essentially just means that they're independently designed, so they don't have to pay a licensing fee. They're one of those like bad knockoffs that like just gets around copyright, and that's my take on it. But I look through the rest of their stuff, and yeah, there's some bad knockoff stuff there. So obviously that particular debunking isn't debunked at all, because the movie still had a redesign and it made a lot of money, and it probably would have not done as well if they would have released it back in November like they said they were going to with that original design. However, something popped up today that John Campea just tweeted out a little bit ago. He says here, I've been rejecting these tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists saying that the studio always planned on the Sonic look and created the whole controversy to play the audience, like chumps and get more buzz. Well, I just had a conversation that suggests it could be true. I will discuss it tomorrow. And of course, he's talking about his show, The John Campea Show. Interesting thing is, he deleted this tweet. I was able to snap a screenshot of it before he deleted it. And for John to put this information out there, because John takes himself very seriously in what he does here on YouTube, and the credit attached to his name and the credibility attached to his name, him putting this out there like this makes me really question, what exactly has been going on at Paramount, at Blur Studio with Tim Miller, and what could be the potential benefit from this particular action? What could be the potential benefit from having this kind of controversy, where you had a studio say, all right, we're going to release a terrible looking product. And when we release that terrible looking product, people are going to freak out. But then we're going to come in and we're going to say, it's okay, guys, we're going to fix it. We're going to totally fix it. And then when we do, it's going to be heralded as being great. Now, look, I said I gave them my money because they listened to fans and they went back and they fixed it. And I still enjoyed the movie. I got my money's worth. I'm very happy with what I saw. But still, that's an idea. So the question then becomes, again, what would be the overall end goal? Why would this be a thing? Well, Paramount actually is who I'm kind of thinking about here. So this is from thenumbers.com. This is Paramount's box office performance in 2019, right? In 2019, this is the movie. They put out 11 movies in 2019, and not really any of them were as big of a hit as they wanted it to be. Rocketman, 96 million was their biggest one. Terminator Dark Fate, 62 million. That crashed and burned. Dora and the Lost City of Gold, I think it did okay for the money. Bumblebee, only 55 million on a $145 million budget, did not do very well. Pet Sematary, it was a lower budgeted horror film that did okay. What Men Want came out, kind of went. Gemini Man crashed and burned. That was about a $175 million movie that did not gross much. Wonder Park did probably okay for the budget, Johnny Knoxville comedy. Crawl, I think, was a $9 million movie, so pulling in $39 million is actually okay. And Instant Family completely crashed and burned. So we can see that their total take-home, at least I think this is probably domestic, was only $563 million. So it's $500 million. They haven't had a hit in a long time. They haven't had a movie cross $100 million in a long time. Sonic worldwide has pulled out, I think, over 100 million worldwide as of this weekend, making it the biggest success that Paramount has had in quite some time, and an exact reason for having this kind of controversy, for faking out the audience for 6 months, getting them so worked up, so mad, so talking about it from the negative, being able to spin that outrage into positive coverage, and then laugh all the way to the bank. Now, I'm not saying that it's real. I have no way of knowing, but it's been on my mind ever since this whole thing happened. And when you start looking at some of the data points, when you start looking at some of the ancillary information, it actually starts to make a fair amount of sense. Anyway, I am curious to know your guys' thoughts on this one. I want to hear your opinions. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys have to say about all this stuff. I will talk to you guys all later. Have yourself a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and peace out.